Today is a perfect day to make this video because the deafening silence of not producing any power, it's quite disturbing. So right now I'm producing 4 amps at 24 volts, so about 100 watts, because that's the weather outside. It's crazy, it's cold and cloudy. People have asked, why did I install grid-tie inverters with power limiters instead of just a regular inverter with a charge controller built in? These only produce 2000 watt total, where you could buy an inverter that can produce 5000 watts and it has a charge controller built in and it's cheaper and run your entire house on it. And it's actually a very valid question. And to understand that, we have to look at the math. Now here's where we're standing. I'm paying about $22 on my power bill every month with this system. And no, it's not zero. With the other system, it would be zero. But there is a catch. Here's my power bill. I'm gonna put it here on the side. This is what I paid last month. And what does this include? Well, this one includes very little power that I've used from the network. It includes the service fee to be hooked up to the network. That means that I am always hooked up to the power line, so if I don't have any power over here, I could always pull it from the network seamlessly without any switches or anything like that, and therefore I am always connected and I always have power. That's the privilege of having a grid-tie inverter, is that yes, you always have power if you cannot produce it yourself. It's a seamless connection, but at the same time you have to pay for it. In my case, about $25 a month. If I would have an inverter and a charge controller built in, this all-in-one unit will be able to charge the batteries and provide up to 5000 watts for my house, and therefore, theoretically, I don't need the power line from the company to be able to compensate. I will save $25 a month. And $25 a month, it's $250 in 10 months, and it's $300 in a year. And that's a lot of money, because in 10 years, it's $3,000. Basically, the entire system can get paid off in 10 years, just from that service fee. So I thought about disconnecting, but here's where the problem comes in, because you have to look at it on a piece of paper before you make big changes, because if you make big changes, you could screw yourself really, really bad. I live in Vegas, and we have 300 days of guaranteed sun over here, but 50 days are iffy. And out of the 56 days that are iffy, we have maybe 10 days that are really linked together and really, really bad. Like the day that I have today. My batteries are almost empty. I am going to start pulling power out of the network by the time I'm going to finish this video for sure, because we had 3 cloudy days with rain. And this is the best case scenario where I live, because you don't get much better sunny weather than we get here in Vegas. And still, I have doubts, why would I disconnect from the network? And I don't want to say that it's a bad idea, because it's not a bad idea. If you have enough solar panels, if you have enough batteries, if you have enough inverter, then you could do that. The problem is that I live in the middle of a town. Days like these, where I have no sun, I'll have to get the power from somewhere. And the only way that I could get the power would be through a generator, which I have. I have a 1600 watt generator that it will very, very well maintain and run the house with no problem whatsoever if I hook it up over here to charge these batteries. If the generator runs for 1 hour, it will give me about 1.5 kilowatt hours worth of power, and it will use about a quarter gallon, about a liter of fuel. And that 1.5 kilowatts will run into the batteries, which is about half of what I have as far as solar goes. So I have 3.5 kilowatts worth of solar. The generator will be able to do about 1.5 kilowatt hours worth of power into the batteries on an hourly basis. So I will have to run the generator for about 8 hours to get my normal consumption throughout the day, which is about 12 to 15 kilowatt hours in a 24-hour period. And that's where the problem comes in. Obviously, there is wear and tear on the generator. Also, I will have to add fuel to it because it only has 1 gallon of fuel in it. So I'll have to add extra fuel every 4 hours to be able to run it for 8 hours. And I also live in the middle of the town. And this is not a quiet generator. It's not an expensive generator, but there is not a quiet generator. And that will be very disturbing for the neighbors and for the people that live around me. And at the prices for the gas today, which is about $4 here in Vegas per gallon, it will cost me $1 per kilowatt hour of electricity, which is about 10 times more than what I'm paying right now if I buy it from the network. So if you only catch 3 days like those every month, let's say you only catch 3 days like those every month, and you have to run 2 gallons a day, and then you have to do 6 gallons multiplied by $4, it's exactly what I'm paying Nevada Power to get the power from the network. And of course, not every month you're gonna get 3 days like that. And it's very rare. Sometimes you get only 2 days like that, and if you have enough batteries, then I will be able to compensate. And I am so close to be able to have enough batteries and have enough sun to be able to disconnect. But I still have a little bit of a doubt, and I'm not there yet. And the problem is that what is the part that is keeping me not making the switch and completely disconnecting the power company? I live alone, and when I live alone, I can control what I turn on, what I turn off. I usually don't run my microwave and my AC in the same time, or my microwave and my air fryer in the same time. But when I had somebody living with me over here, that happened very often. And then all of a sudden you have people that charge their phone, run the heat, run the AC, run the microwave, run the air fryer, all on at the same time for short periods of time, but enough to be able to throw off the inverter. Even if it's a 5,000 watt inverter, it will still throw it off. So right now, this type of a setup kind of like changed my lifestyle a little bit, where I'm always aware of what I have on and what I have to turn off when I run the system. But theoretically, with the type of a system that I have, I don't have to do that, because even if I run all those things at once, I have 100 amp service from the power company that I could just pull power out of the network. I don't want to, because I produce my own power and I want to be green and I want to be proud of my work, right? And use the power that I produced. But at the same time, with being hooked up to the network, I don't have to think about those things. When you have a family, you have children, you have a wife, you have other people that live with you in the house, or if you even have guests coming over for the weekend. Because what's gonna happen is that guests, they're gonna turn things on and off that you are not aware of. And you cannot control everything that is going in and out. And the math always becomes more and more complicated. And then you'll need a backup generator in case your main generator doesn't work. And then there's gonna be wear and tear on the generator, and there's gonna be oil changes, and there will be a lot of things that, even though I enjoy doing them, like flipping things and turning the generator on and going to the gas station, go and get gas and have gas ready for when I need it, in the same time, it becomes not worth it. Because if you really look at it from that perspective, this system is as simple as it gets, and I only have to give them that $25 a month, which still I cringe when I write the check. It is what it is. I will stay with this type of a setup because I have it, because it's built, because I don't know what the future brings. Now, what happens if the power goes out? And this is a huge thing that people will bring it up. They say, hey, if you have an inverter with a charge controller built in and power goes out, you don't care because the neighbor is not gonna have lights, but you will. The power here in Nevada, it's extremely reliable. I could count it on one hand in 15 years how many times it went down. And let's say that you live in an area where you have that problem. The inverter is gonna outshine the grid-tie inverters at that point, except unless you have a battery backup, because these things don't work without any power in the back. But there is a trick. And I don't know if I should show you this or I should not show you this. It's called the Widowmaker cord. It's an iffy technology that it's not approved and people can get hurt, and I've tested with it and I fiddled with it and it actually works pretty well. I was thinking about making a video as far as that goes, but I don't want anybody to get hurt, and therefore the Widowmaker is not maybe the best solution for all the people out there. There's just an emergency thing in case like power goes out and I just cannot wait 8 hours until the power comes back on. That's really the best way to make it work in my case. So theoretically, if all the power goes out and my batteries are full and we have a major problem where you don't have power for 2 days, even though that's not going to happen in Nevada, then theoretically, with a little bit of a knowledge and the Widowmaker cable, I could make this system work and let it charge throughout the day and run it at night. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I covered some questions that you guys had, because a lot of the people asked me this question. And let me know what you think at the bottom in the comment section, because I always read your comments. I'm always curious to see what you think about it. And I'm sure I'm gonna get comments about the Widowmaker cable. Thanks for watching.